You may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 140th Annual Founders Convocation. Please join me in appreciating Mr. John Graham and the Wind Symphony for that absolutely amazing musical prelude. Many of you, if not all of you, have been provided a program, so I know that you will follow along with the program as it has been presented. We have an amazing program lined up for you today. If you notice, there is a part of the program called the Senior's Wish. This was done in 1925. So we are so happy to bring that back to you, and Miss Alicia Freeman has the pleasure and the privilege of sharing that with you today.
During this Founders Day celebration, as we celebrate the contributions of all of those who have gone before and the people who contributed to this university to make it what it is today, I'd like, during this meditation period, to share with you a poem entitled The Dash by Dudley Alice. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on a tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following years with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For the dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the homes, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend that cash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand just how people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash may only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things that they say about how you spent your dash? Let us bow our heads, please. Father God, we come, thanking you and praising you for this day. We ask that during our limited time here that we can make a difference in this world and on this earth and for the betterment of mankind. We ask this day that you help us to be our best, to do our best, and to respect each other and act like children of God. And we will forever give you the praise. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the person who is serving as our fearless leader, Dr. Calvin Johnson.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. To the presiding officer, Dean Carl Martin, to the members of the Chancellor's Cabinet, Dr. Mary Benjamin, Ms. Pauline Thomas, Mr. Edward Bennett, and Mr. John Kirkendall, to our speaker, Dr. Charlie Nails, to Dr. Lawrence Alexander, who will join us as the Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff on July 1, 2013. Dr. Alexander, we're happy to have you join us today. To other distinguished guests here on the dais, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and friends. Today, we are assembled here at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff to celebrate the 140th Founders Celebration, a tradition that started more than 60 years ago under the leadership of then President Lawrence A. Davis, Sr. The founders of this celebration developed programs to blend academics, social activities, and history in efforts to communicate not only the history of the college, but also the importance of remembering how history helped to build the school. You will know, even today, we continue to change and to make adjustments. Normally, this activity that you're participating in today would have been held on Sunday, but it was brought to my attention that we might need to change to allow more diverse participation. And I'm happy to say today that I think this program has been successful in doing exactly what the planners of this program wanted to happen. So on behalf of the university family, I extend to you best wishes and enjoyable, I hope that you will have an enjoyable and happy Founders Week. Thank you very much.
My name is Aaron Fuller. I'm a junior at the university, majoring in criminal justice. And this morning I have the honor of giving an introduction speech to Dr. Charlie Nelms. I wanted to start my speech off by first talking about education. Now, it's very difficult to define the importance and the weight of education in our nation, but I want to just give a couple of examples as to why it's so important and why this man has dedicated his life so many years to the cause of education. Education is one of the key to economic empowerment, and that's very important in a nation where we're basically plagued by so much economic uncertainty. It's the key to not only having a stake in our nation's politics on a day-to-day basis, but having an informed voice on behalf of those that are often overlooked and disenfranchised on a day-to-day basis in our nation's legislation. As a criminal justice, I should know, education is important to being able to defend your own freedom in an imperfect and man-made criminal justice system. In short, knowledge is power. And no one knows this more than Dr. Charlie Nelms, who has dedicated over 40 years of his life to advancing higher education and post-secondary education, and has also opened a dialogue to revitalizing and transforming HBCUs. And I think we can all agree that our HBCUs can use a little revitalizing and a little transforming. He was a former chancellor at NCCU, North Carolina Central University, and there he worked tirelessly to raise the academic standards, not compromising. He created the first PhD program at the university in over 50 years. He worked to eliminate waste in the academic system by discontinuing academic programs that were no longer relevant and continuing those or merging those that did. Because of his work, NCCU has been ranked one of the top public HBCUs in the country by U.S. News and World Report. He was also honored recently, back in 2012, by President Obama himself with the Drum Major for Justice Award. As a former chancellor of Indiana University at Richmond and the University of Michigan at Flint, and the former vice president of the Indiana University system, there's no shortage of experience this man has in administering education and effectively educating people like myself and people like my fellow peers at this university. So without further ado, I give you Dr. Charlie Nelms.
Hold fast to dreams. For if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams. For if dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Langston Hughes. Good morning. You can do better. I've come too far to get this weak lippy. Good morning. Speak to me, speak to me. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. Now I know that you are alive. I know that you're alive. I am absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you, Mr. Fuller, for that fine introduction to Interim Chancellor Johnson, to Chancellor-elect Alexander, members of the faculty, student body, staff, visitors, and friends. I am absolutely delighted to be here. And those aren't just words. As I sat there sort of reflecting and listening to the music and all of that, I can't begin to describe how I felt just sitting there reflecting on what happened to this young guy who's now bald-headed and gray, over 40 years ago. So today is special for me as we pause to celebrate the 140th founding year of this institution. I'm Charlie Nelms. I'm a cotton chopper and a cotton picker who grew up on a 40-acre farm near the Buck Lake Road, which is near Crawfordsville, which is near Edmondson and the Proctor Junction, both of which are near West Memphis, which is near Marion, which is my way of telling you I'm from the country. And I don't tell people I'm from West Memphis. I'm not from West Memphis. I don't tell people I'm from Crawfordsville. I say I'm from near Crawfordsville. I grew up on a 40-acre farm. And as country as I was, and I still am, I was fortunate enough to have two wonderful parents, Eddie and Carrie Nelms, who believed in the power of education, voting, and owning land. Although our mule died many, many years ago, I'm pleased to tell you that we still have the land. My siblings and I vote in every election, and all of us had an opportunity to avail ourselves of some form of post-secondary education. So I can't commence my remarks this morning without reflecting on my parents, Eddie and Carrie Nelms. I have a sister here with me today, Christine Nelms, who graduated from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I don't know where she is, but Chris, I'm happy that you're here with me representing the rest of the Nelms group. Although the demographers refer to me as a baby boomer, I am the same Charlie who milked cows on the college farm for 75 cents per hour, scored 4 on the ACT, 538 on the GRE, and 28 on the MAT, and went on to graduate from Arkansas A&M College and study on fellowships and assistantships at Indiana University and Teachers College of Columbia University. And to ensure that I never forgot from whence I came, I always kept a bowl of cotton for over 40 years on my desk. And I kept my cotton sack in my home office, because I don't ever want to forget that. I don't ever want to forget it. And I'm not embarrassed to tell you about my background. A lot of people want to pretend that they're geniuses. And it's only their dreams. Now students, I did not tell you my personal story as a means of bragging or suggesting that I'm smart or anything like that. Rather, I simply want you to know that you are more than your test scores, and it's not where you're from, but where you're going, and how many people you have along the way. That's the moral of the story. Yes, I'm Charlie Nelms from the Buck Lake Road, and I'm here today because of the dream of J.C. Corbin, John Brown Watson, Lawrence Davis Sr., S.J. Parker, O.R. Holliday, Gladys McKendra Smith, Elaine Shannon, D.J. Albriton, L.A. Torrance, Lois Fawcett, Johnny B. Johnson, and countless others who invested in me because they were vested in J.C. Corbin's dream. And they were committed to assisting Black Kansans who could not attend white colleges and universities in this state as they can today. So we must never forget that this institution was established to afford people uplift. And we can never forget what we must do every day to ensure the existence of this institution 140 years from now. Don't ever forget. In my remarks this morning, I want to do 3 things. First, I want to talk about why I believe we should be inspired by the founding of this institution. Second, I want to share with you what I see as some of the key challenges facing HBCUs. And I want to end by indicating what I think we must do to ensure that these institutions not just survive, but they thrive. And I'm going to do all of this in 25 minutes, and I'm going to take my seat. And I hope you'll remember something that I said. Why should we be inspired? The fact that Branch Normal College was even founded in the first place is by itself inspiring. Remember, we're talking about a decade after the Civil War, in a deep South state where the Confederacy was strongest. It was during an era when white plantation owners, businessmen, and politicians did everything within their power to stymie the advancement of recently freed slaves. At the time that Branch Normal College was established, only 31 black colleges existed, and most of those were private HBCUs. At a time when so few Kansans possessed the requisite skills for collegiate success, can you imagine how difficult it must have been just trying to assemble a faculty to teach the most basic courses in mathematics, in Latin, English, philosophy, and religion? Can you imagine how difficult it was just trying to assemble a faculty? At the time, fewer Kansans possessed the skills needed. Can you imagine the sons and daughters of sharecroppers coming up with enough money to pay tuition? Remember, everyone, we didn't have financial aid. We didn't have scholarships. Sharecroppers put enough money together to send their son or their daughter from Earl and Crawfordsville and Fordyce to this place to pursue an education. Not only should we be inspired by Corbin's vision, commitment, focus, and follow-through, we should be equally inspired by the students who dared to enroll and the individuals who accepted his invitation to join the faculty. Corbin, the faculty, the students, and the students' parents all had one thing in common. They all had one thing in common. They viewed education as a liberating force. In other words, they believed that education was the engine of opportunity and a purveyor of hope, neither of which recently freed slaves had very much of. We should all be inspired by the fact that Branch Normal College, Arkansas A&M College, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, this institution was the #1 supplier of black teachers in the state of Arkansas long before you could go to Fayetteville. UARR, University of Central Arkansas, Arkansas State University in Jonesboro, the #1 supplier of teachers. We should all be inspired by the steadfast commitment of Corbin, Watson, and Davis, and those who came between and after them for keeping the dream of education alive in the face of some of the most stifling, discriminatory practices imaginable. In its 140-year history, this institution, by whatever name, has never benefited from equitable funding. The effects of historic and unequal funding notwithstanding, we should all be inspired by the fact that UAPB has not only survived, it has thrived against insurmountable odds. Why? Why has that been the case? You ought to give ourselves a round of applause, because we've been doing more than just treading water. The officer who picked me up this morning at the hotel, she said, "Are you a minister?" And I'm not going to preach. I'm not a minister. I'm not a preacher. But I'm a professor. So I'm going to tell the truth whether you want to hear it or not. We should all be inspired by the fact that this university has awarded degrees to nearly 24,000 people from all walks of life. Rural, urban, black, white, international citizens who've gone on to successful careers as teachers, principals, counselors, nurses, superintendents, social workers, physicians, dentists, government workers at all levels, law enforcement, elected officials, professional athletes, business leaders, among other careers. While we have much to be inspired by relative to UAPB's rich history and legacy, we must not forget that the social landscape that gave birth to this institution has changed dramatically, and it will not be going back. While racial segregation was the premise upon which HBCUs were established, it will not be the determining factor for the continued existence of these institutions, nor should it be. Unlike my generation and those who came before me, Today, a student's college choices are limited only by the extent of his or her academic preparation and the ability to pay. In fact, for the outstanding black student, race is often an advantage rather than a disadvantage as it was just 2 decades ago. So, I'm inspired. I hope you're inspired, but it's not enough to be inspired. It's not enough just to be inspired. As we go forward under the leadership of a new chancellor, building on the foundation that was laid by those chancellors who came before him, now is an opportunity for the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff is to claim more of its rightful place in the higher education community. Now is the time. Now, what I'm going to do is talk about 5 forces, and I'm going to be very brief, because most people can't sit still long. I'm going to be very brief. I'm going to tell you 5 forces that I believe will impact in a significant kind of way the future of all colleges and universities, but especially historically black colleges and universities. And I'm not going to go into great detail about any of them. Number 1, the growing competition for students, brought on by aggressive recruitment efforts by predominantly white institutions, or PWIs. The perception of many black parents and students alike that PWIs are better than HBCUs. The growth of private, for-profit online colleges and universities. The growth of community colleges. And the inconsistent and often low-quality services delivered by HBCUs. That combination of things, that confluence, that some of those things we can't do anything about. Because integration in the civil rights movement was really all about providing opportunities for people where they could go wherever they wanted to go. And people are choosing to go wherever they want to go. I'm not here to say that other institutions should not aggressively recruit black students. And that will become clear as I speak. The second force, increased emphasis on performance-based funding with student success rather than access only as a metric. See, a lot of people can say they went to college, but when you're dealing with a performance-based system, it's based on your results. What did you do? What did you achieve? And I understand here in Arkansas, you are in the midst of a performance-based system, as is the case in North Carolina, Michigan, Indiana, all over the country. So it's not just HBCUs, it's higher education generally. And I'm going to have to tell you this now, as a parent and as a taxpayer, I think people have every right to ask, what are your outcomes? And we should not have to dance around when we say it. This is going to become clear as I speak. Number 3, budget cuts at the state and federal levels pose a special set of challenges for nearly all HBCUs, and these institutions suffer the compounded effects of historic underfunding. Without adequate funding, they cannot offer competitive academic programs nor provide the quality of campus life desired and sought. Let me say it again, desired and deserved by students. Pose a simple question to me. Now, I've been posing this question for a long time. How can a low-wealth, poorly resourced institution without adequate facilities compete with one with all the bells and whistles? I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be in the gym, but you know they have convocation centers these days. We're going to go over to the L.A. Davis Senior Union, I think, for lunch. It's going to be a wonderful lunch. But the building was constructed in about 1952. I'm not sure it can be changed around in any additional ways to make it more functional. Now, don't go tell anyone that I talked about the Union building, because I did. And it's not really any negativity. It's a point that I'm trying to make. And the point that I'm trying to make is that you need human, fiscal, and physical resources in order to meet your objective of educating people. That's all I'm saying. The 4 fours. Increased reliance on student loans to finance an undergraduate education. Loan indebtedness in America is now stands at about $1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion. And there are many students who leave college at the undergraduate level with $25,000 to $50,000 worth of debt and nothing to show for it. That's immoral. People should not be loading up on debt and walking away from this institution and indeed all institutions of any historic designation without a competitive credential that will allow them to compete in the global workplace. Number 5, and final force that I want to reference is the inconsistent, low quality of services provided by too many of our institutions. Let that sink in a little. Once upon a time, HBCUs were known for 2 very important qualities. One was caring. Didn't have any money, but we cared so much about the students that we refused to let them fall through the holes, through the cracks. We refused. Second thing that we had, and we moved away from it, we just served people with a kind of love and a kind of quality that they never forgot. Every institution should receive an A in caring and an A in the quality of services delivered to its constituents. Every institution. That's not money. That's not money. That's an attitude. And too many of us have moved into that sphere of indifference. But if you like your job, I'd encourage you to rethink your strategy. I'm going to close now by talking about 5 prerequisites. This is an education institution, so it's appropriate to talk about prerequisites. Prerequisites. The future of HBCUs will not be determined by their historical legacy. And there's a legacy. But that's not what they're going to be judged on. They're going to be judged on their contemporary relevance, responsiveness, and excellence. Anything less is unacceptable and will not be tolerated by society. So, thank you. So here's what we have to do. Simple, straightforward. We have to raise the expectations we have for ourselves. We don't need anyone else to tell us about expectations. We need to raise our own expectations. You see, the research is clear about expectations. If they're high, people rise to meet them. If they're low, people rise to meet them. So since people rise to meet them, why not have them high? Let me translate that for you. What I'm trying to say to you is that administrators must lead rather than preside. Faculty must teach effectively rather than simply lecture. And students must learn rather than simply showing up in class. So students, I have a challenge for you. I challenge you to graduate rather than simply matriculate for 4 or 5 years and leave without a degree. You have the opportunity to study at UAPB because of the sacrifices of those who came before you. And please, please do not dishonor their legacy by not graduating. It is not enough, though, to simply graduate with a C. See, I told you about my ACT, but I didn't tell you about my grades. I wasn't a genius, not a genius, but I didn't flunk out. You have to graduate with a credential that will allow you to compete in the marketplace. I'm just back from China 2-3 weeks ago, and the competition is between you as a graduate of this institution and someone in a country whose name you can't even pronounce. It's not between Jackson State and UAPB and Southern and UAPB and Grambling and FAMU. It's between you and some person in Indonesia, in Africa. So you gotta compete. Second thing is, we must offer competitive academic programs and services without apology. And if we can't offer high quality competitive programs, I want to suggest to you that we probably shouldn't be offering them. And that's a hard decision to make. Okay. Number 3. And don't start throwing things at me. HBCUs must aggressively recruit and retain students of other races in the same way that those other institutions aggressively recruit and try to retain students. As a state institution, we have an opportunity and an obligation to serve all of the people of the state of Arkansas. And don't just assume that you're going to lose those best, the most well-prepared student of any race. Refuse to cede that to any institution. But just don't assume that they're going to come to UAPB any more than another institution should assume that they're going to come to them. Number 4. And if you're an alumnus of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, I don't think we have any branch normal alums left. But we certainly have some A&N and UAPB alums. We have to start giving money rather than lip service. Everyone can be a philanthropist, but not everyone can be a philanthropist at the same level. Philanthropy is about sharing all of what you have. Your time, your talents, and your financial resources. You can't talk a scholarship into existence for a student, but you certainly can present that student with a scholarship as a reward for her or his accomplishments. So alums, write UAPB into your budget. Write it into your budget. If it's only $5 or $10 or $100, write the institution into your budget. So 140 years from now, or just next year, or a year after that, or the year after that, students will assemble in this wonderful honors convocation. And there will be 100 or so scholarships in addition to what's already presented to students who've chosen to enroll at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So we must invest. Talk is cheap, that's why so many people do it. The fifth and final thing that I think we must do is that business and corporate leaders, state and federal elected officials must collaborate and cooperate to ensure that HBCUs have access to the human, physical, and capital resources needed to serve students in an excellent manner. It is time for an HBCU Reinvestment Act. That's it. I'm going to leave you. I know people don't memorize things much anymore, but Ms. Gladys McKendra Smith was my orientation instructor. And back in the day, young people, we were required to memorize a few things, and one was the philosophy of Arkansas A&M College. I still remember the words, and I tried my best to live my life according to the words. The end of education is to know God and the laws and purposes of His universe, and to reconcile one's life with those laws. The first aim of a good college is not to teach books, but the meaning and purpose of life. Hard study and the learning of books are only a means to this end. We develop power, courage, and determination, and we go out to achieve wisdom, truth, and justice. If we do not come to this, the cost of schooling is wasted. Thank you.
It is on behalf of the Planning Committee and the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, it is my pleasure to present to you this painting. And there's a description on the back. Let me read it, just let me share it. It's from Mr. Danny Campbell, and this Leno print entitled "The 44th President Barack Obama" was completed by the well-known artist and educator Danny Campbell, who was a professor at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Began working on this print in 2007. Once he found out Mr. Barack, a senator at the time, was running for president. He said, "I had a vivid dream one night, and God showed in the dream that Barack Obama was going to be our next president. I saw him vividly standing at the nation's capital, giving his acceptance and inaugural speech in front of a sea of people. I began immediately to complete a work that would encapsulate and commemorate this grand mark in America, and for our people to be uplifted and to have a sense of hope."
Hello, I'm Elysia Freeman, your 2012-2013 senior class president, and I have the distinct honor of bringing forth to you all today the Senior's Wish that was last written in 1925. And here's a rewritten version by yours truly. The Senior's Wish. We, the class of 13, wish to express our sincere thanks and gratitude to the faculty and staff for having pursued with us during our years here at this great institution, and revealing to us the facts of life. We wish you all long lives, happier days, peaceful nights, and a rest from the class of 13. We wish our successors, the juniors, to learn from our mistakes, but also take from the good things that we have done. Also that each one of you will receive your degree in May 2014. We wish the sophomores to retain school pride and to know what it takes to be a golden lion. And when they become juniors, it will not go astray. We wish the freshmen to gain from their 1 year spent here at UAPB to return this fall. I repeat, to return this fall with an open mind and a desire to learn, to use your time wisely, and have a determination to succeed. They who know how to employ opportunities will often find that they can create them, and what we can achieve depends less on the amount of time we possess than on the use we make of our time. We wish to see the people of Arkansas seize the wonderful opportunities offered to him in the Department of School and Business and Management, to gain proper training from the Department of Military Science, to show proper skills from the School of Arts and Sciences, to teach like there's no tomorrow from the School of Education, to plant a seed within themselves and blossom from the School of Agriculture. Regardless of their chosen career or academic path, people must have that drive and commitment to receive professional and personal success. We we have an opportunity to go out in this world and use the time we have to better not only ourselves, but our friends, families, communities, and our nation. We can and we will make the difference. Thank you.
Now, our Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Mary E. Benjamin, will provide remarks and recognize our guests.
Thank you, Dean Martin, and good morning to all. To the members here on the dais, to our keynote speaker, Chancellor Johnson, members of the Cabinet, Dr. Alexander, and all other participants on the stage, to this wonderful Founders Day audience. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'd like to appreciate Ms. Freeman for that wish. I think that she just sort of took the speech that our keynote speaker gave and kind of threw it back to you, the students especially, from a student's perspective. That's what you call really absorbing and learning and getting the point that has been made. Let me just say that this is a wonderful time. 140 years. I want you to close your eyes and think back to 140 years ago, which would be easier for some of us than others. I want you to think back to your parents, to your grandparents, and what they were probably doing 140 years ago. And then I want you to bring it up to 45 years ago, when the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, then AM&N, started the ROTC program. We are celebrating 45 years of helping the United States of America develop leaders for the U.S. Army. That's a major accomplishment, and we want to take note of that, because there are a lot of activities. This is a busy week at the university. Read your calendar, read your email carefully, and participate in as many of those events as possible. So my very pleasant assignment is to acknowledge each person here and to say thank you for all that you have done to make this a very warm and memorable occasion. So I'm just going to go down my list. Some people might think it's a little long, the credits. Well, if you go to movies, you either stay in, finish your popcorn, and watch the credits and the outtakes, or you just walk out. And if you just walk out, you usually miss something. So at this university, we always take time to say thank you. So first of all, to Chancellor Johnson, thank you for your leadership during this transition. We are so proud that you will give up your fishing and your retirement time and come and provide leadership to this institution. To our keynote speaker, Dr. Nams, who always comes, always is full of wisdom, gives us a little chiding, and compliments us for what we have done. I endorse and ask you to endorse with me his concept, now is the time. Now is the time for us to move from where we are in 140 years to where we want to be in the next 140 years. Let's applaud and take his challenge. We can do it, you can do it, and students, I'm going to tell you how you can help do it also. Now we have someone in our audience that's just quietly watching us, but he's looked at us before and he made the decision, the right decision, to come to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I'm going to introduce him, and I'm using the privilege of standing here to present to you and ask him to make remarks. Our Chancellor Designate, Dr. Lawrence Alexander.
Good morning. Good morning, UAPB. Good morning, Golden Lion Nation. That's it, that's it. I've come just to greet you this morning. I didn't intend to say anything, but thank you, Dr. Benjamin, for relinquishing the pulpit for a moment. On this 140th Founders Celebration, 140 years of existence. But as Dr. Nelms pointed out, not just existence, but accomplishment. You are to be congratulated. You are to be commended for the work that has gone forward and for the people who have gone forward. Sure, we always talk about the leaders, but you know, there was some teachers there, and there were some workers there, there was some staff there, and some students, all of those years, who helped to build this tradition of UAPB. And on this day, we stand on the shoulders of those leaders. We stand on the shoulders of those men and women who led this institution through the years. Because when we stand on their shoulders, we stand on a firm foundation. And we're able to stand tall. And when you're able to stand tall, you're able to look out over things. And you're able to see some things. And you're able to reach and aim higher. My wife, Veronica, could not be with us today. She sends her well wishes. She is, let me just say, excited. Very excited. And we all are very excited about the opportunity to come here to UAPB. We are honored. We are overjoyed with this great opportunity that has been presented to us. There's lots of excitement in Gainesville, Florida today, and not just in my household. But when I come here to Pine Bluff, each time I make a visit, this is about my 4th visit here, I see so much excitement on the faces of the people here at UAPB. And we want to capture that excitement, and we want to galvanize that. We're on our way, UAPB. We're on our way. I will be coming here to start on July the 1st. And on the next time I'm on this stage, I promise I'll be in regalia. I'll bring the regalia with me and I'll come with it. But today I had to go into my closet and get my favorite tie. I had to wear my favorite tie to come here for this great occasion. Dr. Nelms, Dr. Charlie Nelms, it's a great pleasure to see him and hear him here today. Captured the essence of the vision in the future of not only UAPB, but HBCU in general. Growth in size, growth in stature, growth in academic excellence, and growth in giving. Did you hear him say that? Growth in giving. I heard him say that too, Dr. Nelms, and I heard kind of a light applause after that. But I applaud you, UAPB, and I look forward to being with you. I look forward to working with you. We're on our way. God bless.
Thank you so very much. Now I'm wondering if we have any elected officials in the audience. If so, would you please stand and be acknowledged? We appreciate all the support that we receive from our elected officials. If none are here, I would like now to recognize all alumni of AMN the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. All alumni, if you will please stand and be acknowledged on this great day here of celebration. We would like to acknowledge our Vice Chancellor Thomas, all deans, and if you will, let me get my all deans and hold your applause. All deans, all department chairs, keep standing. All faculty, all staff of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Let's give them all a round of applause for helping to make this university great. Thank you so much. Great to see you. And now to our future, the students. You are hearing a lot about our history, and we want you to hear it, and we want you to love it and protect it. You will carry forth the legacy of this institution into the future with all the students of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Please stand and be acknowledged. At the end of the day, you are why all of the rest of us are here. Whenever you have a good program, you have to have a lot of different people participating, speaking, singing, planning, being ushers, giving us beautiful music as by the Vesper Choir and by the Wind Symphony. And we so much appreciated the music for the march. It really put some pep in our steps coming in. So we appreciate all people that were on this program to make it successful, and to the planning committee. These are the people that work behind the scene and cross their fingers to hope that will really come off as planned. Would the planning committee please stand and be acknowledged? The planning committee. When I asked the faculty to stand, I think we have some faculty members here who did not stand because they consider themselves retired faculty and staff. But the truth of the matter is you never retire from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. We just sort of give you an excused absence. But I would like to ask all of the retired faculty and staff to please stand, and want you to know that we miss you and we appreciate what you have done and what you will do for this university. And administrators, if there are any retired administrators out there, would you also stand? I want to thank you so much for being here, for participating in this particular event of Founders Week. Remember that we have a lot of other wonderful events planned. We want to see each one of you there and want you to go out and bring some others with you to the celebration. Thank you. Remember this university, and as you go about your way, always say a good word for the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Thank you very much.
Please stand and remain standing during the singing of our alma mater and the procession.